New indications have appeared that show the intensity of U.S. military operations against militants in Afghanistan is reaching wartime highs. Based on figures released by U.S. Air Force's Central Command, the volume of munitions dropped in Afghanistan in the first 3 months of this year was higher than the peak of the campaign in 2011. The Pentagon says it is now striking the facilities that the militants are using to produce narcotics, what it says is a primary source of their funding. But there are serious doubts over the accuracy of intelligence the U.S. military uses for this. A research by the London School of Economics shows that a large number of facilities that the Pentagon designated as drug labs were residential buildings. And with this, a hike in U.S. military strikes in the country appears to have pushed up the number of civilian casualties.
This has been the history of warfare ever since the invention of the airplane. The British terrorized the Middle East with airplanes during the period after World War I. The United States in World War II adopted an air terror campaign against Germany. Korea was an air terror campaign which destroyed every single town in North Korea. Serbia was an air terror campaign. Vietnam was an air terror campaign. And they lost all of these wars, because you can't win a war simply by dropping bombs on people.
U.S. airstrikes in Afghanistan have been increasing since last August, and it was when President Donald Trump announced a new escalation of a war of 17 years. The primary difference is that the U.S. military is now relying more on technology than humans to obtain intelligence that it needs to carry out airstrikes, but the accuracy of this is seriously doubted. Pentagon officials defend the escalation of the war in Afghanistan. They say that the U.S. should carry out non-stop airstrikes as long as it is necessary. And this, they say, will show the militants that America is determined to keep up the pressure on them. But a look at the facts on the ground shows that little progress has been made in America's war on the militants in Afghanistan.
The old story was, if you controlled the Hindu Kush, you controlled all of Asia. Well, the Hindu Kush is Afghanistan, and I think that they are in there for the long haul because they feel that if they control that area, they will divide the Eurasian landmass. They will divide Iran from China and Iran from Russia. I think this is an obsolete idea. I think that the foreign policy that the Americans are pursuing the net result of their foreign policy. And the fact that they can't control Afghanistan means that it won't have any effect anyway.
Meanwhile, the U.S. has been facing accusations that it is trying to transfer the insurgency war that it has been allegedly supporting in Iraq and Syria to Afghanistan. There have been speculations that the U.S. military is transferring Daesh terrorists from those countries to Afghanistan. And this comes as Iraq and Syria are successfully pressing ahead with their own wars on the terrorists. The real objective behind America's suspected agenda of planting Daesh in Afghanistan is not clear, but this could be in one way or another meant to put pressure on Iran and Russia. China could also be in the picture.
I think they've already admitted that their occupation is not successful. They cannot win the countryside over. They have withdrawn to fortresses in places like Kabul, and even Kabul is not safe because of all of the terrorist attacks that we've witnessed there recently. So the terrorist attacks, I think, give us some indication of what may be going on here. I think that what we're seeing here is that they're trying to make some type of space for ISIS and Daesh and all those people that were just defeated in Syria. Rather than just let them dissipate or go their own way, I think they're moving them into Afghanistan, and they're trying to carve out a space where they can live and be retained as a weapon in reserve that can be still used at some point or other in the future.
The current signs show that the U.S. has no intention to end the war that it has been waging for the past 17 years anytime soon. Many believe that the achievements of the American war have been nothing but a rising civilian deaths and destruction, and they blame international organizations like the UN for failing to press the U.S. to end the war in Afghanistan that has few, if any, supporters internationally.